Well, critics sounding off tonight against a number of bills passed by California lawmakers that focus on gay and transgender minors. The bills now await the signature of Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom. Here is the senior national correspondent, William Lachinesse.
With a supermajority in Sacramento, Democrats wrapped up this year's session with a flurry of bills supporting gay and transgender rights for minors.
Our bill specifically is regarding custody disputes during a divorce proceeding when two parents are in disagreement.
One contentious bill requires judges to consider if a parent supports their child's gender identity or expression.
That means judges will have no ability to use their discretion.
Opponents say the bill means parents of faith and others could lose custody or visitation rights.
What the legislature is trying to do is trying to say, look, a child is not safe in a home where they're not being affirmed by the gender identity du jour.
The bill's sponsor insists California is not trying to separate children from parents.
No one is out to get your kids. No one is out to force your kids to be anything that they shouldn't be.
While fewer than 2% of minors identify as transgender, it's a potent political issue.
I'm proud of California for standing strong to support LGBTQ people.
Gay and transgender bills passed by lawmakers include one that mandates teachers take a class in support of LGBTQ students. Another makes it easier for students to see mental health counselors without parental notification. A third requires foster families to affirm a child's stated gender expression prior to placement. Another requires schools provide segregated, gender-neutral bathrooms, and districts can be fined if they remove LGBTQ books. Every state has its own culture wars, but as the saying goes, what happens in California often doesn't stay here. Trace?
William, thank you. Let's bring in Freedom Works Education Reform Director Laura Zork and Parents Defending Education VP Caroline Moore. Ladies, thank you for coming on here. William talked about it at the end. I want to put these back up on the screen again so the audience has a good idea of exactly what California is doing. So California transgender bills in 2023 mandates that teachers take class supporting LGBTQ students in mental health counseling without parental notification, foster families affirming a child's stated gender expression, providing gender-neutral bathrooms, and penalties for school districts that remove LGBTQ books. Why do we feel, Laura, like there is such a need to fill our schools with politics?
Well, there isn't a need for this, and I'm going to tell you that parents across the country are concerned about what is happening in California because, just like you said, what's happening in California is making its way across the nation, and that's why we are advocating for parents to get involved on their local level, run for school board, run for these state offices, because we have to stop this from coming into our school districts.
Yeah, it's interesting. I want to put this up because the teacher's boss, Randy Weingarten, went on a podcast. It was called The Power of the Work podcast, and she said this, and she's trying to backtrack, but here's what she said.
In terms of wanting segregation post-Brown v. Board of Education, those same words you hear today. It's not, you know, I was kind of gobsmacked when I was talking to Southern Poverty Law Center, and they showed me the same words: choice, parental rights.
Yeah, Caroline, she was gobsmacked, right? I mean, she was gobsmacked when she talked to the Southern Poverty Law Center, and now she says, no, she wasn't trying to compare parents to segregationists, mind you, because parents and teachers, they are partners.
You know, I think it's telling that she was even talking about the Southern Poverty Law Center. Our group, and many like ours, have been labeled as domestic terrorists by that group. So I think that's telling of how much she cares about parents or students, for that matter. And I think that, you know, Randy Weingarten, she does not have parents' interests or students in mind. She also went on to say that it is a small minority of, you know, right-wing people who are saying this stuff, and that's just not the case at all. We have 10,000 members from across the country who have problems in their schools. They are seeing things, activism, bringing politics into the classroom, and they won't stand for it. These are not politically active people. These are people who love their children.
Yeah, so the Pray, Vote, Stand Summit is underway right now in the nation's capital. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis tonight there said this.
We have universal school choice in the state of Florida, and we need it nationwide. On day one, we'll issue an executive order that ensures funding available to private non-religious schools must also be available to private faith-based schools.
You get this feeling, Laura, that if you had school choice, a lot of this other nonsense would go away because parents would have a choice. They would have a say in the matter of where their kids go.
That's exactly right, and that's what you're seeing in Florida, Arizona, Wisconsin. If parents have choice to pull their children out of these public schools that are going against their beliefs, they want these options. It's not a partisan issue. Democrat, Independent, Republican families want to have choice for their children.
Yeah. Final thoughts from you, Caroline, on this?
No, I think that's definitely the case. I agree with Laura, and I think school choice is a great thing, but there are a lot of parents across the country who don't quite understand school choice or even know that these laws exist in their states. So I think we need to do a better job of advocating that these laws pass in every state. And also, I mean, I think we can't leave the public schools behind. I think we really need to, you know, uplift them because things are chaotic at this point between the teachers' unions and the activism of the districts.
Yeah, I think that's a fair conclusion. Caroline Moore, Laura Zork, thank you for coming on.
Thanks so much.